special! Aang is special! Ah!
So I just finished watching a show that not a lot of people are watching. Chad Powers just wrapped up its first season, and it's truly a wonder why more people aren't talking about this show. I mean, it has all the same elements that made Ted Lasso so successful. A lovable main character with a good character arc, a fun premise borrowing straight from other classics, and a great supporting cast. So what exactly went wrong? Why didn't more people watch Chad Powers? Could it have been something to do with a platform, or were people just not interested? Join me, dear viewer, as I dive back into the raging dumpster fire that is modern Hollywood. Before we dive in, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button, and if you really want to make sure you never miss out, ring that notification bell too. It'll help us break through the YouTube algorithm and keep this channel growing strong. The premise of the show is quite simple. Chad Powers follows Russ Holiday, played by Glenn Powell, a disgraced former superstar quarterback who blows his career in spectacular fashion. Desperate for a second chance, he steals a Hollywood-grade disguise, reinvents himself as Chad Powers, and secretly joins a struggling college football team as a walk-on. What starts as a ridiculous undercover stunt turns into a surprisingly heartfelt journey of redemption, identity, and rediscovering the love of the game. What makes Chad Powers so good is how completely it commits to the absurdity. The jokes land because the show knows exactly what it is: a smart, dumb comedy with a ton of heart, just like Ted Lasso. Glenn Powell absolutely crushes the dual performance. Arrogant Russ versus lovable Chad. And the supporting cast brings way more emotional weight than you'd expect from a show built on a fake mullet. It's funny, it's warm, and it actually cares about its characters, which is more than I can say for half the comedies streaming right now. So why aren't more people watching this great show? Here's the thing, Chad Powers works because it actually commits to the bit. The comedy isn't trying to be edgy or ironic, it's that rare, smart, dumb humor where everyone involved knows exactly how ridiculous this premise is, and they lean into it with Olympic-level confidence. Glenn Powell absolutely cooks fire in this dual role, playing Russ as an egotistical jackass and Chad as a mullet-wearing Labrador retriever of a human being. The supporting cast shows up too, with Perry Mattfeld and Steve Zahn grounding the chaos with real heart. And somehow, beneath all the prosthetics and nonsense, the show sneaks in an actual emotional core about redemption and second chances. When it hits its stride, like the Halloween episode that spirals into Spirit Halloween madness, it's some of the funniest stuff streaming right now. It's charming, it's chaotic, and it's way better than a show built on a fake face and a worse haircut has any right to be. So if Chad Powers is this good, why isn't anyone watching it? Honestly, a big part of the problem is Hulu itself. Hulu is owned by Disney, and while Disney dominates box office branding, it has also managed to screw up nearly every major franchise it touches. It's like a reverse Midas touch. Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana Jones, you name it, which doesn't exactly inspire confidence when they're steering a streaming platform too. Hulu also doesn't promote its originals. Its interface buries new releases, and its weekly release strategy feels like a relic from 2014. Even with Glenn Powell having the hottest year of his career, the show barely cracked the trending page because Hulu simply doesn't know how to push its own content. And on top of all that, Hulu's business model from the very beginning squashes viewers with a shitload of commercials. So it makes you wonder, is this a Hulu problem, a Disney problem, a commercial problem, or do people just not give a shit about streaming shows anymore? Honestly, it might be all of the above. Hulu is already the red-headed stepchild of the streaming world, and Disney hasn't exactly been the model of competence lately. This is the same company that managed to run Star Wars and Marvel straight into the cultural ICU. Then you add in the fact that streaming platforms barely promote anything unless it's a legacy IP or a tax write-off, and suddenly great shows are dropping into the void like messages in a bottle. Audiences are overwhelmed, burnt out, and half the time they don't even know what's new because the algorithm is too busy recommending them season 14 of some procedural they never watched. So yeah, maybe it's a Hulu problem, maybe it's a Disney problem, maybe it's a marketing problem, but at a certain point you have to ask, do people even give a shit about streaming shows anymore? Or have we all collectively tapped out? Part of the reason Ted Lasso became a cultural phenomenon is because it dropped at exactly the right moment. We were all locked inside during the pandemic, desperate for something wholesome to keep us from screaming into the void. But now that we're back in the real world, shows like Chad Powers that mimic that same heartwarming, nice core formula are flying completely under the radar. And honestly, you can't blame audiences for being checked out. People are exhausted by the endless churn of streaming services, especially Netflix, which has developed a reputation for canceling genuinely great shows right after season 1. Viewers are tired of getting emotionally invested just to get kneecapped by an algorithm. So when a new feel-good comedy comes along like Chad Powers, everyone's first instinct is, why bother? They'll just cancel it anyway. And they shouldn't do that. But the crazy part is that after all this platform incompetence, we're actually lucky Chad Powers is getting a second season. And that raises a lot of juicy questions because season 1 didn't exactly wrap things up with a neat little bow. Ricky, the coach's daughter, already knows Chad Powers is really Russ Holiday, and she was not thrilled about being duped by a man wearing a Party City face. Does she tell her father, who also happens to be the head coach? Does the whole team find out? And what about the original QB that Chad replaced? The guy who spent the finale glaring at the camera like he was about to start his villain origin story. Are we headed for a revenge arc? A full-blown locker room mutiny? Or maybe even Russ getting exposed in the most humiliating way possible? Season 2 has the potential to go full telenovela, and honestly, I'm here for it. At the end of the day, Chad Powers works because it's funny, sincere, and carried by a lead performance that deserves way more attention than it's getting. It's a genuinely heartwarming comedy that commits to its absurd premise and sticks the landing with charm, energy, and real emotional weight. It's the kind of show that should have been a breakout hit, not a hidden gem. So what do you guys make of all this? Does Chad Powers deserve more hype? Are you excited for season 2 now that the secret's out? And do you think shows like this still have a fighting chance in the streaming chaos? Please do let me know down below in the comments. And as always, hit that like button, ring that notification bell, and smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.
Okie dokie.